the Federal Reserve has created enough currency units to decrease the value of a dollar to 3.2 cents, or what you could buy for 3.2 cents in 1913 now costs you a dollar today. So I don't want, we just did a big refi. I have a lot of money sitting in the bank. I don't want my money sitting in the bank. I definitely don't want more than a quarter of a million. And I'm sure we've had a show before, and we'll have another one where we show you that the FDIC can only pay for about 1% of the deposits. Sometimes it's as good for every $100 that it insures, it can pay you $1 to $3, depending on the day. And just in 2020 and 2021, Lila has talked, we have all talked about how they have basically loaned out $9 or more for every dollar that's sitting in the bank. And no bank can handle that if everybody wanted their deposits back, because it's, what is that called, Devin?
That's fractional reserve lending. Is that the term you're looking for?
Yes, fractional reserve banking. And look at how much they printed. It took 190 years, over maybe 198. It was over 190 years for our federal government to be $1 trillion in debt. Now we are going in debt to the tune of $1 trillion about every 100 days. And if you're like, oh, well, it's the president, it's all Biden's fault. Trump was almost as bad as Biden. He was better. He spent more money. He was worse than every president for spending money before him. And Biden is worse than him. And I bet you if Trump's elected again, he'll be worse than his next term. And if Biden's elected again, he'll be worse than his next. They just never cut back on spending. Every president spends more than the one before him. So just in 2020 and 2021, the Fed overnight, bam, like that, removed the reserve requirements. So it's no longer like 9 or 10 to 1. There was zero requirements. They could lend as much as they wanted to for a while. And over the process of that year and a half to 2 years, they printed $6.5 trillion. Let that sink in. Six
Wow.
and a half trillion dollars put into circulation. Anybody that knows, oh, and what's worse, all the poor and lower middle class people, the people this is absolutely going to hurt the worst. What did they do? They cheered because they got free money. Well, let me tell you what free money is going to cost you. You got a check for $300 to $600 or whatever it was. You got a couple of those for the rest of you and your children's and your grandchildren's lives. You will not only be paying that back, but we'll never pay that back. Our debt keeps going up. We are only paying the interest, and now we're paying about $1 trillion in interest on the $34 trillion the United States government is in debt. And if you're Canadian, you're in just as bad a shape or worse. Same with the European Union. Same with every country out there. As a matter of fact, we are, the American Federal Reserve note is currently the cleanest dirty shirt in the dirty laundry. It is not good by any means. It's just a little bit less bad than most of the others.
And
So,
Dad, you were just talking about people were so happy to get that free money, but now they'll be paying for that for the rest of their life. And like Ethan and I talked about on that I think it's the most recent teenager takeover, there isn't anything that comes for free. And in this case, we have to pay it back. That's where it came from. What's that's the cost of it.
and that is why the price of real estate has not gone down dramatically, because people, even if they don't do the numbers, even if they don't understand or have never heard the stuff that we're talking about, intuitively they know prices are constantly going up, rents are going up. I don't know why, but it is better to overpay. And I look, and we bought that 4 unit from Harold, and I really thought I overpaid for that, but he was a good friend of mine. I didn't mind. Let his retirement be a little bit better. And I look back just a few years later, and what's it been, 4 years? I look at the wild inflation we've had, And I think, man, I wish I could have bought 10 of those. And what was grossly overpriced then, and I only did it because I knew him. I knew it was in great shape. I knew it'd be a really low hassle building. There were a lot of benefits. That's why when I told you at the auction, I was willing to really overpay, not as much as they paid, but I was willing to
Yes.
really overpay. And you know what? If they get a lower interest rate loan, or if they go in and pay cash and they let sit around in 5 years, they are going to be thrilled that they own those duplexes. That is the key. You can't buy this and flip it. You've got to buy and hold for the long term.
And you gotta make good decisions while you have it, so because if you make too many mistakes on the management side too, it can also eat you, so you've gotta
Oh,
be able to make it through those first 5 years.
that's the next 5 shows right there, how you have to manage and how many problems you can have there. So if you
Mm.
don't want the management problems, if you don't want tenants, trash, and toilets, where can you stick your money that will probably hold its value?